Welcome to the Beginning Crochet mini course. I'm Tashia Butterfield, a professional crochet instructor. Here in part 4, I'll show you how to make the single crochet stitch and how to start a project by working into your foundation chain. The single crochet stitch is the most popular of all crochet stitches. I have here a chain 7, and we're going to be working at the top loop of the chain. When you're looking at these V's here, and you lay them across the direction in which you're going to work, looking at the very front of the chains where you see a V for each chain, we are going to be working into the top loop. Skipping the very first chain, the loop on your hook does not count and your slip knot does not count. What we do count are the V's all in between. I'm skipping this very first chain, placing my hook underneath the top loop of the second chain. I'm going to show you that again. Skip the first, here's the second, and here's the top loop of that chain. Place my hook in there. I'm going to yarn over, meaning my hook is going underneath to the back. And you see how the yarn is laying over. The yarn is over the hook. That's why we call it yarn over. We're going to catch that yarn and we're going to pull it through only the chain, which leaves us with 2 loops on the hook. And notice I did bring that new loop up to the shaft of my hook because now these 2 loops are the same size. I'm going to yarn over again. My hook is underneath to the back. I'm catching that, rotating the head of my hook so it fits through both of the loops on the hook. There's a single crochet stitch. Now I'll find the next chain. It's often difficult for beginners to find which is their next chain. If you look for a hole in which to work, and you'll automatically see there's this big hole right here. It's big because you just worked into it. See all these loops coming out of it? We just went there. So if you were to see that, look for the chain next to it. I'll put my hook underneath that loop, that top loop of the chain, yarn over, pull through just the chain, so I have 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. Now I have 2 single crochet stitches. Again, I'm looking for the next chain. I see this big one that I just worked into, so here's the one right next to it. Into the top loop, yarn over, pull through only the chain. I have my 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through both loops. And I'm going to do that in each chain across. Into the chain, yarn over, pull through only the chain. I have 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through both loops. And now here I am at the end. I have 1 chain left and then my slip knot. There I go. First row of single crochets. How many single crochets do I have? I look for the V's across the top. Every crochet stitch is going to have a V across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. How do I go to the next row? Well, we use a turning chain. The turning chain, how many chains makes up a turning chain is going to depend on the height of the stitch that I'm working with. Since in this case I'm doing all single crochets, I'm only going to need to chain 1. There's my 1 chain. And I'm going to rotate my work. I'm going to flip it away from me. Now I'm looking at the back of the row that I just made. I'm going to find the very first stitch, which if you rotate a little bit towards you, you can see all these V's. And I'm going to skip the chain that I just made. I'm going to work into the first stitch of this row. and I'm going to go under both parts of the V. Find both parts. It's very common for students when they very first are learning crochet to only go through one side of the V. Unless you are working with a pattern that specifically says to go in the front or back loops only, you are going to go through both. Standard crochet is going through both loops of your V. Then I'm going to yarn over, pull through that stitch, so I have 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through both of those loops. Now there's a single crochet on top of a single crochet. I'll find the next one. Again, if you need to rotate it to look for that V, that's just fine. Go under both parts of the V, yarn over, pull through just the stitch. Now I have 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through both of those loops. And I'm going to do that in each stitch across. At the end of my second row here, when I'm looking at the last stitch of the first row, it can look kind of funny, and that's because this is where we skipped that one chain and then made a stitch. So it does look a little weird, but if we were to mistake this as a nothing and not work into it, we're going to be left with this little nub here on the edge of our fabric, and we are going to be one less stitch than we need to be. So look for the V just the same. You can see it there hanging off the side a little bit. Find both sides of your V here. There. See both sides? Yarn over, pull through that, yarn over, go through those 2 loops. Now you have 2 rows of 6 single crochet. And again, we do a chain 1, flip it over, and go all the way back across.